Have you been watching The Last Dance and just seeing?
I was on the treadmill watching the last episode right now.
I want Michael Jordan. And the thing I love about this is I always heard he was kind of an asshole. But when you watch it, you just see so much of it seems to be driven by this insatiable desire to win and to be better and to keep improving. And when you saw how it wasn't like he was being mean to people, he was like, I can't tolerate people not trying as hard as I am. And nobody was trying as hard as he is. So I think he was brutal on his teammates, but you watch it and you're like, that's what it takes to be at the best. And I think you and Dan Cummins were talking about this. You're like, you don't need to be the best. You don't need to be Kevin Hart. You don't need to be number one. You know, like I'm content being like really good and happy.
I want to be Shaquille O'Neal so badly. Like just a guy like he does those general commercials.
Oh yeah,
he's just like hey. So he gets paid like $5 million.
And this is one of the like the opportunities we get now. And I know you're going through it too. When some of the things like you're doing a video with the Backstreet Boys or having a band come to your house, the things we get to do now are things that you never dreamed of coming up. So I used to be a doctor, so I was doing an event for the University of Texas. They do this big fundraiser, their children's hospital. And I was interviewing Shaquille O'Neal. So I got to spend the day with him. And we go to the hospital to visit a lot of these kids who are, who are in just unthinkable situations. But one of the kids, when Shaq walks in, he goes, "Can I ask you a question?" So he's like, "Yeah." And he says, "Why do you do those awful ads with the General?" And Shaq said, "Because when I was broke, when I didn't have a penny, they gave me insurance, and I am loyal to anybody who's loyal to me." And so he's like, that was the company that gave me insurance when I was broke, so I will do ads for them because I know there are a lot of people in that situation. When I heard that, I'm like, God, I absolutely love those cheesy ads now because it's for the right reason that he does it.
But I love that he's loving his life. I love that Charles Barkley loves his life. Like you see those guys, and you wonder how much is Michael Jordan loving his life? Because I have a few notes about this fucking documentary, by the
way. Buckle up.
Well, I got into it with Bill Burr about it. It.
Come on, Bert. You don't know sports.
Is that, they obviously everyone says Michael Jordan was not the greatest player of all times. It was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Yeah. That his numbers are higher than Michael Jordan's. And so if you're going to talk, and then if you're talking rings, I mean, then you look at, I guess, Will Chamberlain.
Russell. Yeah.
Bill Russell has
like 13 rings.
Yeah. And so there are all these arguments to be made. I think me and you will always say, or like me, you, Bill, all that generation will always say it's Jordan because that's who we saw and he changed the game in so much. But then you start going like, so hypothetically say you're Gary Payton and you're like, man, I wouldn't mind an ESPN documentary about me. I've got the extra money. Why don't I just make a huge fluff piece saying that I'm the greatest? And then you start going, because that's what Michael did. He was like, I'm going to make a documentary.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a documentary about myself because all anyone knows me as is the crying meme. And I want to remind everyone.
Or the shoe, yeah.
Yeah.
And, people have said that they're kind of feeling like LeBron is staged to be anointed as the best ever. And I think LeBron may very well be the most physically gifted player we've ever seen in any sport. He truly is a specimen. But I to me, what we're seeing, and of course, we're a prisoner of our childhood, right? Jordan was who we watched, like the same way Mike Tyson was versus, Muhammad Ali was on the downswing when we were there, or Rocky Marciano. Never saw them. So, of course, you're a prisoner to what you know. But I think when you see what he did, like the way they talked about the Bulls were a traveling cocaine circus before he gets there. Within a couple weeks, they're like, this guy's the leader and he's changing the culture, and this insatiable desire to win. And where you saw just him repeatedly stabbing the dagger into people in a way that, I think LeBron has been just a phenomenal player with so many accomplishments, but you see him being much more agreeable and nice and probably more business savvy about it. But there's something about us where we're like, that was Jordan is ours. And I still think like, I just watching Jordan where you felt like at the end of the game, you knew he'd deliver.
But, but then you overlook statements by like Steve Kerr. Did you see the statement Steve Kerr made where he goes, I'm not, he was something about getting in a fight with Jordan. He said, I'm a pretty agreeable guy, until you push me. And I think it's because I'm not that good of an athlete. And then you're going, hold on. That's humility, right? That's something that my dad taught me, was to be like that. Like, I always do it with stand-up. That's my basketballs. I always do it with stand-up.
Right.
I will always be humble about what I do on stage, because quite honestly, I think people that don't look like fucking fools. Like, the guys that think they bring the thunder look like fucking jackasses.
Unless they bring the thunder again and again.
Let me tell you who doesn't. Yeah, let me tell you who doesn't talk shit. Segura, fucking Bert, all my favorite guys to watch that are fucking.
But I think there's probably also more of a humility in comedy that you're, I mean, the same way in sports you lose, but it is a head-to-head thing where this is the closest equivalent of getting in the ring with somebody, right? In comedy, we really are more competing against ourselves, and and even within a set, you can get humbled. So I do think there probably is a different approach, and that mindset needed to physically gear yourself up to fight.
I love that Kerr just said I wasn't that good of an athlete, and then but he by the way, he wasn't grandstanding. He wasn't trying to. He was just being who he was. And you're going, hold on, bro. You're a professional basketball player, and you're white, and you're tiny, But I love what Jordan said about him. And he goes, I look at Steve Kerr walking on the court like, I play for the Bulls. I am somebody. He's like, bitch, you didn't do any of this. I did it. I'm so torn because I love the way Michael Jordan thinks.
Yeah.
I love it. But then I wasn't raised to think that way. For whatever reason, my dad was
and I think that's a really interesting thing is you start to hear like this mindset. How do you shift your mindset in a productive way? And, right. I think Jordan probably hasn't had all the happiness he wants, where it is this thing of if he's not gambling, if he doesn't have huge stakes, if he doesn't have that action on it, it's probably hard for him to sit back and appreciate it. And, I don't know. I don't know that you ever figure it out, right? I mean, we're always kind of trying to evolve and doing the best you can. And I'm sure you look back on yourself 10 years ago or 5 years ago, or sometimes a month ago or a week ago. You're like, God, what was I thinking then? And, it is this thing of we are, I think it's a little tougher as you do it as a comedian with all these podcasts where you're really making your life an open book that is so well documented.
Open fucking book.
Yeah.